I just want to look at one more thing, which is this Monk's augmented whole tone lick. Now this is a whole hour right here we could spend on this. So this is like classic Monk. All right, so this is one of his licks he plays a lot, and what they do is they all play out on the tune. So this is the bit that you hear on the last 3 bars of the tune instead of the normal melody. Okay, now I just wanted to break it down and explain what's going on here, because it's a really interesting line, and clearly he's worked this out and he's practiced it a lot, right? And he's using it again and again. What this is an example of what they call playing outside. Okay, outside playing. Now, playing outside the harmony is when you superimpose harmony on top, or you play notes that are outside, technically wrong notes, but they make it work, okay? And the way they make it work is, once again, look where he's starting and look what he's ending on. Okay, he's starting on a strong chord tone. The very first note here, if we all got this sheet, yeah? The very first note, he starts on the 7th, the flat 7th. Okay, so an E flat on the F7. It's a very strong note. He starts on a strong note. Look where he ends up. He ends up in the A flat on the B flat 7. That's the flat 7 again. So he's going from the flat 7 to the flat 7. He's targeting his notes. He's targeted where he started from his tone. But what he does in between is way out. It's amazing. But here's the thing where this also works, right? So he's technically, look at all them wrong notes he's playing on an F7, right? If you played any one of those notes, you'd get fired, okay? But what he does, because it's such a logical, perfectly executed sequence of notes, the fact that it goes outside the harmony, comes back in again, is why it works. So let's break down what's going on here. What he's actually doing, he's playing a whole tone scale. Okay, so a whole tone scale means every note is one whole step from the next note. Okay, and this is a whole tone scale. You hear it a lot in children's books when it's time to turn the page, children, of your book, and also at pantomime when the fairy turns up. Yeah, we've heard that before, right? So Debussy used it a lot. Right? Sorry, I can't. And it's a symmetrical scale. It's all whole steps all the way, no semitones. So it's very hard that it doesn't really have a beginning and an end. So it's a bit like a chromatic scale. It goes on, and you can start and end anywhere. It's totally symmetrical. And of course, there are 2 whole tone scales, because you just start on the other note and then you get the whole tone. Then what he does is, off of each note of a whole tone scale, he builds an augmented triad. Okay, which again is so the whole tone is already quite a tense, chromatic outside sound. Then he puts augmented triads on each note. Like, you can't get any more like outside than this. So let's look. This is what I've written underneath. So we get an E flat augmented triad. Now, augmented means sharp 5, major 3rd, sharp 5. You hear that? Okay, so it's a major triad, but it's got a sharp 5. Yeah, so it's E flat, G, B. Okay, that's the very first 3 notes. Then the next 3 notes is an F augmented triad. Yeah, and then the next thing is a G augmented, and then it's A augmented, and then it's B augmented. Beautiful. That's like, it's so perfect. It's like the DNA sequence of a snowflake or something. It's so perfectly symmetrical, and it starts here, and then he just tags on that A flat at the top. So what we get is it. Amazing! What an amazing sound! Yeah. Do you see what's going on? There's one other thing that's really clever that he does as well. Not only is he really stretching the harmony, but he plays a very interesting rhythm. The rhythm is a cross rhythm. So if you look at the notation, we're playing semiquavers, okay, 16th notes, but every phrase, the phrase is in 3-note groupings. So he's playing 3-note groupings across a semiquaver rhythm, which again, so rhythmically, it's incredibly sophisticated as well. Okay. Now this didn't happen by chance. This line. Okay. There's no way. This is something. This is the language of Monk we're getting into, And this is the sort of thing he used a lot. He's got these incredible runs that he does, and when you hear it, you go, it stands out. Where you go, oh, that's Thelonious Monk. That is on the piano, and it's this sort of stuff that he plays all the time. That's part of his language, and that's what identifies him, makes him sort of such a unique artist in that way. But can you see how it all works? It's very, very brilliantly worked out. And this is what they play on that on the head. So if we go from the